here we go. We are live from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and not North Dakota. Where are you? North Carolina, United States.
I might as well be in Arizona. I might as well be in Arizona right now. That's where my heart is. So we'll talk about that.
Look at Raymond here. SPG is here.
The boys.
How are you doing, Mr. Ryzak?
I am on cloud 9, Jeff. Cloud freaking 9.
Oh, I bet you are.
I am. But no, it's a good day. It is sunny out. It's beautiful out there. I'll get out there eventually, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about first because we have been super chatty with each other this week.
This has been a busy ass week.
Yep. You know, and I know that some of the stuff that we talk about here isn't for everybody, but it also lets you know just how much there is to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We could go so many different ways with our content, and the fact that we're both kind of sport guys at heart, that's where I think we definitely lean towards. But there's other things that impact us professionally, personally, just economically, worldwide. So nice to mix it up every once in a while. I think today's got a pretty decent mix.
We got a mix of a lot of stuff today. We're all over the board today, folks. Some things won't appeal to others. Other things won't appeal to others. It's awesome.
Yeah, but one thing will, and that is that everyone is going to have a new favorite player by the end of the show. So there you go.
Are they?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. It's going to happen, Jeff.
Okay. Okay. I will trust you on that.
Take my word for it.
I take your word for it.
Jeff, you busted out some content this week. You got some of the shorts out from the show last week.
Oh my God.
You worked overtime.
So hard to edit. That NFL picks was so hard to edit. Then I had to chop it down to make it under a minute because the Reels and TikTok version was, I don't know, minute and a half, minute and 40 seconds, but shorts can only be a minute. So I really had to chop it down and get the words in there. And
well, it's good. We were talking about it yesterday, getting some nice traction there. So that is nice to see. I like whenever you get people that comment, but comment in a way to answer whatever question you've asked when you've done the videos, right? So hopefully as we continue to go along with the topics, we get more and more people to comment, because I think that it doesn't stop here. So it's fun to see what people think.
I did get a complaint about you.
Good.
Jim Martin's.
That's what I go for in life.
Jim Martin's child, because you said, Jeff, give me a noun. And I gave you proper nouns, and although you didn't say they weren't allowed, you didn't say they were allowed. You see.
Yeah.
So they were quite disappointed that I chose proper nouns when I shouldn't have.
And I wasn't good enough on the spot there to know that, Jeff. I needed help.
You didn't say I couldn't, which was my defense. I'm like, well, he didn't say I couldn't. Didn't say I couldn't.
They've obviously never watched an episode of Game Over to see exactly how perfect I am.
I don't think they have. And speaking of Game Over, we're mixing up the 5 guesses again.
Uh-oh.
We both get guesses today.
Oh.
We're both doing guesses, which all that means.
Don't you already know the answers?
Yes, I do. But what that means is it's going to be impossible to edit.
Excellent. I already have the
edit in my mind, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this?
That's so great. How can I make it more difficult for myself? Yes, this is a great idea.
Exactly. All right. What are we doing today? I hear an echo.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. How about now? Okay. There we go. I just muted the but we can't see your screen. I think you have to click on it. You have to click on it for it to appear. There you go.
There it is. How about that?
There we go.
We'll figure it out one of these weeks, Jeff. What are we in? 2026?
26.
Wow.
I know.
Week 26 of having coffee with you. Minus what? 2 weeks?
Yes. Oh, and is it next week? Where are we? A couple weeks
next
from
week
now.
Or the week after you. Yeah.
A couple weeks from now, you might have a co-host or two. They have expressed interest in co-hosting if I'm possibly away with my father.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Now, what you don't know is I still have to run everything, so I'll still be here. I just won't be on screen.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
I'll be sitting in a coffee shop somewhere, or I'll just be having breakfast. Just clicking on the clicking on the notes from Steam Elements. Thank you, Steam Elements bot.
Dude, we got more topics this week. There's something new going on here. What are we doing?
All right, so I'm ready for redemption. I am ready for redemption. We're gonna talk a little preseason. We're not all done on preseason week 1 yet, but we're gonna talk about that. Bruce Campbell is here. Hello, sir. Hat tip to you. And then, of course, you want to talk about that ball kicking thing.
Yep.
And then a new something we're trying out. Post of the week. X post of the week. X post of the week. And then, of course, did you hear about a bunch of stuff? And then it says I give you 5 guesses, but we both get 5 guesses. We both get 5 guesses this week. Yeah. So
that'll be interesting.
It's going to be fun. So, all right. As always, we are sponsored by Wondershare. You see all these awesome videos I'm making? So I just go in and I go into speech. I go text to speech. I click a button and it puts the text up for me. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of go in and edit it a little bit. So it's, that's how you put that. That's how you do it. That is how you do. That's best practice. When you're doing your shorts, you got to throw the words up there. If you're not doing it, you're not beastification, as they're saying. Although Ren Ritchie will say that's not a thing, but
it's nice when you do the text to speech and it pops up as you're saying it. Some of the text to speech can get a little bit off of what you're saying, but especially in the last one that you did, it was like I guess because sometimes we're slower in like a word we say when we speak, right, to add that dramatic effect, and it was like catching that up on the text to speech. It was like doing it the same way, so I thought that was neat.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep.
All right, let's go. We're ready.
Right. Here we go.
This
PlayStation
was the big news of
play. Jeff, I'm gonna be honest with you. When this got said to me the other day, when you sent this to me, I didn't really understand that it wasn't already on PlayStation. But as I read more into it, it's the newer generation consoles that didn't have it. Correct. So like the older.
Correct. I'm just looking here to see if I have it. I'm just looking to see if I had a PlayStation. These are all my PlayStation 3 games, and I don't seem to have it for PlayStation 3. Although I forgot to tell you, I'm going to GameX Toronto. As soon as we're done here, I'm bolting into the car and driving an hour.
Nice. You meeting up with anybody? You meeting up with Jim?
I'm not meeting up with Jim, but they're going to have a cosplay. I'm going to be doing some interviews. There'll be some stuff for the channel. Apparently, they're going to have a Tesla playing PlayStation 1 games. So look for.
Who are you dressing up as?
I am dressing up as a famous YouTuber.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
Well, this isn't just. Go ahead.
This isn't just all about PlayStation either, because this is the first time that these games are going to be on the Nintendo Switch, right? So
correct.
Big news if you're a Nintendo Switch player, because you'll get to recreate these amazing experiences. But Jeff, this isn't just all fun and games, right? There's a lot of people that are upset.
There are a lot of people upset. I know there were people in our community that wanted a complete remaster. They wanted the stories to intertwine. They just didn't want to save as and upgrade it to to a new platform and then publish it. And and then they're also upset about the price, the price tag.
Mm-hmm. $49.99 in the US. There's those euros for you, Jeff. I got that in.
Oh, you took. In our production meeting, I made a comment about what? No euros. Could have left the GPP in there, but anyways.
No, we can use this everywhere. So I just wanted to show like that Canadian dollar, man. Like, no wonder you're always talking about I won't be buying this because of the price of it or whatever, because so much more. Like, I get it. That's just how the value of that currency works out, right? But the number itself, it mentally, it's just like, oh my gosh, right?
Yep. And then, so it'll be interesting when I go to GameX, because there is going to be some retro, obviously people selling. It'll be interesting to see if they have the game and how much they've marked it up as. So I wonder if I can get it. Wonder if I can get the PlayStation 3 version for cheaper.
So wait a second. This is $50, and it's just a port. It's not a remaster.
Just a port. That's it.
But we were hearing the news a few weeks back that there is a leaked remaster, correct? Or do you think that this was the leak?
This was it.
This is the leak.
This is it. Yep.
Interesting.
This is it. Yeah.
Well, now with PlayStation
now they're giving you
boosting up. This is nice.
They're giving you the undead, the undead nightmare piece too. They're giving you that too for your $50. They're not charging you extra. The Take-Two CEO on the earnings call, he said, "Hey, it's an appropriate price. What's wrong with you? It's an appropriate price." So even he defended it, saying, "Hey, looks good to us."
I wanted to watch through this video again because I don't know that I give this game enough credit for what it was when it was.
Correct. Yeah, that's why a lot of people were hoping.
I do.
And that's why a lot of people were hoping it would get redone in like Red Dead 2's graphics.
It still looks great for what it was, right?
I know.
Look at this.
I know.
And this is just a crappy screen grab, like.
It's Ryzak and his new fancy technology we have for the show.
Yeah. We're moving on up in the world, so
we are.
Well, as a Red Dead connoisseur,
PTI doesn't do this.
No, screw that. Yeah, I know that you are all about like Red Dead Redemption 2. Did you play this a lot?
I never played this, and I never played the
really?
story. I never played the story. I only got into Red Dead because I got in because of my kids. They were playing the Red Dead Online, and then I was playing. When I was playing with my son, as with my other son's account. So I was using Big Ol' Mac's account, and I was playing with my other son. And then I hummed and hawed about getting it, and then Stadia came, and I went, "Oh, hell, I'll just get it on Stadia," which turned out to be a better move because I got to play with everybody in the community then. Yeah. Yes, I could not play with my kids. My kids were a little mad I couldn't play with them, but I got to play with all the stadiums, which was fabulous. And then of course,
you're still playing.
Still playing it. Still playing Red Dead.
With the group.
Monday night community stream, we play a little Call to Arms. Shout out to Will and Callie and Doc and Crow and everybody. Cash grabs are tight, says William. $30 value for this dated title. Yeah, he thinks it should be about $30, not $50.
I don't disagree.
Seeing those textures in 4K will make it slightly better, but I can't see in 4K because I'm blind. So there we go. And as always, Jim misses the segment on how to make coffee. So
yes, we already did that. French press today.
Jim, when you were out at the garage sale, did they have this game for the PlayStation 3? You said you grabbed some PlayStation 3 games. Was this one of them? Was this one of the games, Jim, you grabbed at the... Jim was out at garage sailing this morning.
Well, it's a nice addition to the PlayStation Now lineup as well. Like I mentioned a bit ago, there's been a lot of talk about the PlayStation Cloud, revamp, relaunch, what it is now, and a lot of people are having good success with it initially. So, cool. All right.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Red Dead Redemption coming to the PlayStation 5, Jeff.
I will be saw the most hated game in the world, though. I don't know. I could think of several.
Must be Fortnite.
Jim, you better save that for when you're guest hosting and then you give Ryzak 5 guesses. He can guess the most hated game.
Oh, you're just giving away material now.
Because if that's in 2 weeks, it will be their turn to give the question to you. Because when they stepped in for you, I had to give it to them, although they still wanted to give me a question. But in 2 weeks,
they're way smarter than me, though, Jeff.
It'll be them giving you a question. So it's going to be something.
I'm going to look like a fool, but I gladly accept the opportunity to. I've never turned away from one before.
Jim is going to ask you to name the top 5 Russian oligarchs.
Yes, I got that. No problem. Yeah, I just read that article.
He's gonna rank. He's gonna have you rank the Russian leaders. He's gonna have you rank the Russian leaders.
Yeah, definitely trying to get me canceled.
Name the top 5 Russian words of all time. It's gonna be. I could just see
Ovechkin, Fedorov, Kirilenko.
Oh, in his house, the most hated game is Resident Evil 6. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Oh.
I never really got into the Resident Evils. I'll be honest with you. I played the first one. It scared the crap out of me, and then
I played a couple on the GameCube on a retro gaming Friday night. Top 5 oligarchs by the number of yachts. There you go. That is what Jim's gonna come out with. So you better be scared, is what I'm saying.
I'm scared already. That's why I'm so quiet.
Yeah. It should be fun.
It should. Speaking of yachts, Jeff, there's a lot of people that were on yachts that are no longer on yachts because the NFL preseason is back, Jeff. It's back, officially back as of Thursday.
Yes,
I mean, technically it was the Hall of Fame game last week, but for sure, week 1, here we go. You and I have been glued to the games, just seeing what a lot of these players are doing, a lot of question marks of players taking over for, long-term veterans, rookies. So it was an interesting start to the week, right? CJ Stroud in that Houston game on Thursday, number 2 overall pick. Didn't look to be in his best form. 2 for 13 yards and that big interception. And then they pulled him quickly after that. So I'm sure he'll be taking on a lot of tape this week, right? Wanted to bring some attention to Pittsburgh down there. Kenny Pickett, 6-7, 70 yards, 1 TD. Second year as a starter, looked really good. Had a nice touchdown connection with George Pickens and Baker Mayfield in that same game. 12 of 14, 79 yards. What did you think about Baker?
He was player of the game. He was the player of the game. So good for him.
Looked good. Looked in command. Looked to have a leadership control on the team, which is exactly what you want from your quarterback. So again, these are preseason games. Don't read too much into them, but you want to see the positives.
So 2 things I want to point out. 1, fancy new graphic. Well done, like that. Stepping up our game. PTI has nothing on us. And 2, what's that little something down in red there at the bottom? What's with that?
So anyone that has even seen one of my 800 tweets come out in the past 12 hours should know that the legendary, your new favorite player in the NFL, Brian Cobbs, not only got his first professional catch, Jeff, but he got his first professional touchdown in his first professional game. And it was the game winner.
Hope he got to keep the ball. Hope he threw the ball back.
He flipped it. He held on to it for a little bit, but then he flipped it on.
No, I know, but what you don't see is the training guys going out and getting it, the equipment guys maybe going out and swapping it out and
it's
whatnot.
Preseason. I think that if that was week 1 maybe.
Oh, definitely. If it was a regular season game, even if he comes in week 17 and does something off the practice squad or something, he'll still get the credit.
For me, knowing him personally and seeing him grow, I couldn't help but wonder if his parents were there last night and just how they must have felt. Talked to you a little bit before the show. This is one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And he comes from one of the nicest families that I've ever met in my life. I mean, just such a stand-up dude. You can see it in the way he plays too. He plays like a veteran. He does like a lot of the little things, you know. He's not going to be the fastest guy out on the field. You know, he's not the biggest. He doesn't have the longest arms. But if you watch the slow-mo of that ball coming in and you see the eyes lock on the ball and you see the determination that sets in, you know, 2 hands on the ball, strong grip, brings it in, curls it. I mean, it was a perfect catch. You know, that's what you want to see. I know we talked about toes. There's, you know, some talk about maybe his toes weren't down for, you know, as long. But hey, it counts nonetheless. Congratulations, Brian. I'm just ecstatic to know that the story was written for him that way. You know, my wife and I sat here and watched it. My wife knows him, saw him, you know, grow up as well. And I mean, we were just like screaming at my computer as we were watching it. Woke the kids up, woke my daughter up. She came down this morning and was like, "What were you screaming about last night?" Like, what do you mean? What was I screaming about? You didn't hear me?
We were having
just super cool.
We were having mommy daddy time.
Yeah, super cool. I told you I'd tell you a little story. When I was in 6th grade, I went to basketball camp at the high school that I eventually went to. My camp counselor was a guy by the name of Darnell McDonald. Darnell McDonald played basketball and football at the school. He went on to junior college to play football before he landed at Kansas State. Had a very big catch in a Kansas State game, bowl game, that led them on to a win. He had impressive numbers in the what was that, the Big 12, I think, at the time that they were in. Anyway, he goes on to play in the NFL, gets picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At the time, we would go to the Redskins games, and the Buccaneers were playing the Redskins in the preseason. And so we went to the game, and I knew that Darnell was playing because I was following his career because he was my camp counselor, man. I looked up to him like he was like an idol in a sense, somebody that I knew that had made it to a professional level. And my dad and I are watching the game. He's not playing, right? And I'm a young kid. I didn't really understand why. I didn't understand the preseason. I didn't understand what was going on, you know, with kind of that insider thought to things. And so he finally comes onto the field in the 4th quarter, and he goes on, has a couple of catches. But the biggest one was the game winner in the end zone that I was sitting at. It was just in the opposite corner. And I'm decked out in Redskins gear, right? And I am screaming for this guy that just scored for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the game. And everybody around me is looking at me like, what the hell are you doing, right? I felt that same story play out again last night watching him because, as we talked about, didn't really see the field until the 4th quarter and then makes a play at the end of the game there. It was like deja vu for me all over again. 2 players from the same school doing the same thing, same story. Like it's so cool, man. So anyway, congrats to Brian. There's his first official stat page with his name on it in the NFL. And I could not be prouder of that young man. So you're not going to hear me stop talking about him until you know, the end of the days come.
There you go.
So anyway, all right. Moving right along, Jeff. Did you want to talk about any of these plays? It was like a 95-yard punt return there in Detroit. Dorian Thompson Robinson again, 9 of 10, 102 and a touchdown. We talked about him last week, right?
No controversy.
So, okay.
He's just putting on stuff on film for other teams.
No, I mean Jordan Love had a decent debut. Went deep right off the bat and missed, and then went deep again. So. Yeah, no, it was a good week 1 start of the preseason. So, all right. Biggest sporting event on the planet, Jeff, outside of Brian Cobb's debut. Right. That's why I came after it.
Right.
We're down to the Final Four. A lot of soccer's happened since we met last week. The United States lost in PKs. United States was the favorite. United States did not play very well. Point blank, did not play very well. Congrats to Sweden. Sweden goes on and plays the most dangerous team in the tournament to that point, Japan. beats Japan. Now they get a date with Spain to see who's going to go to the final, right? And then just a few minutes before the show, I just finished watching England come back. Colombia was winning right before halftime. England tied it up, and then they got the go-ahead goal there in about the 60th minute or something like that. So they held on, and they are moving on against host country Australia, who looked very, very strong in their game against France. France was a dominant club in this World Cup. So to take that all the way through to PKs and then to come up 7-6, that means it went past the normal 5 that they get, right? So it was a good PK. So anyway, there's your Final Four: Spain, Sweden, Australia, England, and next week we'll know that final. So we'll be able to wrap that up. All right. Who are you going for, Jeff? Any predictions here in these Final Four?
Canada.
Oh, you're going England. Okay.
Canada.
All right. He's going for England because it's the closest to Canadian colors. You heard it
There
here.
One fun fact about the NFL preseason, I just remembered. The Baltimore Ravens play today, and they have won 23 straight preseason games. They have not lost a preseason game since 2015.
It's insane. Do you know who they lost to last?
I don't.
That should have been a did you know question.
Probably. But anyways, there you go. So anyways,
that's a good fact. That is a good
fun little factoid. Not that it means anything to anybody, but fun little factoid.
I almost put up there was a kicker on one of the teams. I'm trying to remember who it was right this second, but missed 2 extra points. Was it Young Shoku?
No,
Atlanta.
no, it was no. Well, no, the guy on I think Cincinnati missed a couple too. Every time I looked up somebody, it was a different kicker.
Yeah, there was somebody yesterday that was 1 for 3 on extra points, and I'm like, how are you gonna keep your job?
Yeah, every time I looked up, there was somebody because I only had 4 games on.
With them moving that extra point back, we've seen more extra point misses than ever in history.
Jim's not wrong. Jim's not wrong.
For real.
Jim's not wrong. Cool.
All right.
Oh,
new segment time, Jeffy. Post of the week. I didn't set that up very well. But
yep.
There you go.
Yep.
You sent this to me.
I did. This was
you were excited about
it.
This.
Well, in some circles, this was one of the biggest news items of the week. Other people don't even know who this guy is. There's 2 parts to this story. One is that ESPN is forming their own gambling site now. They're not building it. What they're doing is they're partnering with Penn. So you are now in the fall going to see ESPN Bet. And so now, middle of the broadcasts, Steve Young is going to be saying blah, blah, blah. And here's my 3-pick parlay. Don't forget to go to ESPN, use code I got fired, and you get an extra $10 added to your account, or whatever it is. So you're going to see a lot of that. They're partnering with Penn, so they're going to compete with the DraftKings, the FanDuels, the Point Bets. Fanatics hasn't even rolled theirs out yet. So I think there's going to have to be some consolidation, more consolidation, because there's going to be just way, way too many of these. There's only so many people can gamble on. Now, of course, a lot of us were thinking, well, now the Pat McAfee deal makes sense because Pat had a big, he had his big deal with FanDuel. Pat had his parlay picks. For those that parlay is multiple picks. So you get you say these 5 things all happen, then I get this money. If one of them doesn't happen, you get nothing, right?
Parlay also requests you attention of the superior officer of a pirate ship.
Okay, cool. Didn't learn that in Sea of Thieves. Bad game. Didn't teach me that. And so he had a lot of big things he was doing with FanDuel, and everyone kept thinking, well, he's losing all of that. Well, now he can do it with ESPN Bet. So why do we care? Well, Penn owns Barstool Sports. They bought Barstool a couple of years ago. They owned a bunch of it, and then they were buying the rest of it out off of Dave Portnoy. If you don't know who Dave Portnoy is, he started Barstool back out of his mother's basement, the old mother's basement story. It was a newspaper, then moved online. He's got a bunch of different shows. He's got a bunch of different people who host shows for them.
You might know him from the pizza tasting videos.
May know him from the pizza videos. He was doing some stuff. So as part of the deal, Penn had to get rid of Barstool. So they sold it back to him for $1. They bought it off him for $550 million. And they had to sell it back to him for $1, apparently, according to SEC filings. It was $1, and so they're going to take a $850 million write down. But they're partnering with ESPN, $1.5 billion. So
there's write-offs in there somewhere where they won't really lose.
No, of course not. But that was the big story, is that Portnoy, and so there was since Portnoy didn't own it, and it was owned by Penn, and they had the majority stake. There was a couple of guys who said some things, and he stood by his guys. Ultimately, he had to let them go because, he reported up into Penn. Now he's the guy. Now they can do whatever crap they want. They've got a bunch of different shows. They have a show, Pardon the Take, which was their ripoff and kind of their jabs at part of the interruption and First Take. So that's kind of their. They do that. So I'm happy for Portnoy. He big fan of his career. He does lots of stupid videos, lots of funny videos. During the pandemic, people were just mailing him shit. He gave out his address, and people were just mailing him stuff. And he
controversial stuff too.
Oh, 100%. Oh yeah.
They definitely poke the bear and they push the limits of the sexualizing of the content and the sports content. And when I say the sexualizing of the content, I mean they do content about like porn stars. They bring porn stars in for interviews, and they have different shows where they'll talk about different topics. So that's what I meant by that. I felt like I needed to clarify, because it's not like they're just like sexualizing everything, right? You got to be careful what you say. But I go to them for a lot of sports news that's kind of off the cuff, right? They kind of get into some of those quirkier stories. And so I enjoy reading the content from that alone. I thought an interesting kind of like aftertake of you sending me this was the first day that he reported to the office and nobody was there.
Nobody was there.
They're all working at home. Yeah. And he's like, what the hell? Like,
got the new owner. Where the hell is everybody?
Right. Yeah. So whether that was on purpose or planned, or unplanned or planned, I thought it was kind of funny.
And then the next day they did one of those. I don't know if you ever seen those TikToks where they're like, we have our meeting at 8 a.m. and here's when people arrive. Well, they did one of those where they had the staff and they putting up the times people walking in. Frank the Tank showed up at 11 and some other. But they do. They had some. They had some. Back. Before the pandemic, and even during the pandemic, they had these two ladies hosting a show that was very, weird and So anything for clicks and views.
They've pushed some boundaries to get the viewership on the content. So all good. I saw that comment. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And the reason that Penn wanted them is because they got a younger audience. So might have some more disposable income. Might be worth betting. Didn't really turn all that great out for Penn, although they're happy about it. But now now they're tied in with ESPN for 10, with a potential to renew for another 10. So it's gonna be good.
Well, let me ask you this, Jeff. And I when I hear you talk and I have thoughts of my own, I'm like, I try to put like imaginary dots together, right? There's a lot of talk about Twitter becoming like this one-stop shop for a lot of things, including banking, including gambling and betting. With the Pat McAfee move, to ESPN, this ESPN bet or whatever's going on. Portnoy and Barstool seem like an ideal team to integrate with what they're trying to do on that front over at X. Don't call me crazy. I don't know.
Who knows? The other thing, the other thing that, and everyone thinks this is crazy what Elon wants to do, but just spend 5 seconds and go look at WeChat. If you don't know what WeChat is, go look it up. Go spend 5 seconds and look what WeChat does. That's what he wants to do. And for the for the quick who don't know, WeChat is the Chinese app that does everything. It literally does everything. And that's what he wants. So if you do anything with the Chinese market, you would have you would use WeChat. If you had friends in China, you're probably talking to them on WeChat. And it does banking, it does everything. Go spend 5 minutes and look at what it does, and maybe we'll deep dive that, sometime. But
yeah, I'll check into it because I had never heard of it until you just said that. So
go check out WeChat. Okay, that's what he wants. I
got homework. Homework.
Come back next week with your homework.
Yeah, there you go. We'll have a new segment.
There you go.
Ryzak's homework for the day. All right, good stuff. I think that does it for that one. So we'll move into some of these quicker stories, right? Put this one up first, just because it was kind of the oldest one. It happened, right after we did our last show. Ramirez here, who you see for what is he on the Guardians? Slides into second. Wasn't happy about the way he was tagged. Wasn't happy about the way he was instigated when he got up. They get into a little bit of a jawing match, and some swings get thrown, and he just throws a punch like he was trying to
fight Jake Paul. Like he was taking on Jake
in the air. And he connected on the side of Tim Anderson's jaw and sent him down. So everybody's like, of course, oh, you got knocked out. And Anderson comes back and he's like, hey, this ain't over. We're gonna see him again, right?
Yeah.
Been a while since we've seen a punch get thrown in a baseball game like this. I know that there's some mound charges and things like that, but the last one that I could think of involved was it Bautista? Wasn't it Bautista sliding second? Jose Bautista with the Blue Jays? There was somebody, Rodon, something like that. Somebody slid into second and somebody just jacked him like that, right? So is second base the most dangerous base in baseball, Jeff? That's my question for you.
Oh, probably. How many people steal third? Not that many. How many people steal home? Even less. Everyone's trying to, because you want to get in the second because you're technically in scoring position. So a deep fly ball or, a base hit if you got a fast guy, okay, not the catcher, but a fast guy, you can score from second. That's why you want to be second. That's why everyone's trying to get the second. On a related but unrelated note, are there more bad calls by umpires? It seems like every time I flip on the Twitter, maybe it's just the Blue Jays. Every time I flip on, somebody's getting ejected because they're arguing with these, and I see these videos of these, they're like, here's 12 bad calls against the Yankees last night, and they show, the guy going, oh, here, ball, strike one. The guy's lunging for the ball to try to catch it, and they're calling it a strike. So is there more of that this year, or is it just, because the games are going quicker, we're noticing it more? I don't know.
It's always like that. People always complain about the umpires, referees, whatever the sport has.
I know, but I see more of it this year, don't I?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to take a unpopular approach here. I think that they need to get rid of the home plate umpire and just go to a digital system for counting strikes and balls.
Yeah.
And have your umpires out in the field to watch the bases, to watch the balks, to see the things that happen, to be able to call when a batter's hit by a pitch. But I think that they could absolutely digitize that strike zone, which would make it a lot more fair for the pitchers and the hitters versus, the umpire is standing behind somebody else looking down. trying to get down and scrooch into that angle. There's a lot of stuff that's going on there in front of their eyes. And I don't care who you are, that can distract you, right? How many times have you seen them put up the ball strike thing, the strike zone when the batter is there and the pitch will be outside, but it's been called a strike. That's why the catchers have started trying to frame, you know, in the last century, right? They'll try to frame that pitch right there on the corner and hold it in tight. A lot of them can get away with that stuff. They know who the umpires are. We have technology. We go to instant replays. Why are we messing around with this? You know, use the umpires out in the field. Digitize the strike zone. That's I would much prefer that, because then it's consistent for everybody. And you know me, I'm big on consistency. So,
and just want to give a quick shout out to since you mentioned him, Jose Bautista, who signed a 1-day contract yesterday with those Toronto Blue Jays. And officially retired. I know Jim Martin and some others in a group chat. They're like, "Did he not already retire?" And I go, "Well, you gotta act. If you don't do the paperwork, you know, it's all about paperwork. You don't do the paperwork." So, sure, I mean, he hasn't played since 2018.
But he's a Toronto Blue Jays legend for you, right? Like,
correct.
Would you consider him a legend?
Well, the bat flip is really, that bat flip is really the thing that made him the legend. You know, he's a good player.
It's like Joe Carter and it's like Jose Bautista.
Pretty much. You could throw Dave Stieb in there. You could throw, Roy Halladay. I hate calling him Doc Halladay because it's spelled differently, but because of the movie, they kept calling him that.
God, he was such a great pitcher.
Well,
anyway, when these two play,
Roger Clemens.
Yeah, he was there for a little while.
Buck Martinez, who is the voice of the Toronto Blue Jays, and you probably don't watch international coverage of baseball, but like All-Star games, World Series, the playoffs, the international coverage is Buck Martinez along there with Vasgersian. So
nice. He does
that. So good times. Okay, what else did we hear about?
Oh, you sent this one over.
I did.
I love, being able to see some of the tape of these kids, right? Yeah. I've watched a lot of tape. I love when you can watch somebody's highlight reel. Yeah. But this kid is 6'5", 455, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put this into perspective. I am 6'4". He is an inch taller than me. I weigh 215 pounds. He is double my size, Jeff. More than double my size, Jeff.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen the movie The Blind Side about Michael Oher, right?
Michael Oher.
You know how there's the play where she comes out and she's like, protect your family, this and that, and he just drives the kid all the way back into the tunnel.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Watch the way he finishes. I know you've seen this. I'm saying it more for anybody that's watching. Watch the way he finishes these plays. That guy is in the turf. There's the highlight there. This guy's going out the back of the end zone.
Yep.
There's the highlight here. That guy stands no chance. That looks a little bit like a hold to me. I don't know. That left arm kind of comes up. But anyway, look at how wide that dude is, man. And he's quick. He's got quick feet. Oh, my goodness. What a beast. So TCU, huh? Texas Christian University. We're going to have to check up on him every so often and see how this season's going, because good Lord.
Yeah.
It says he eats defenders quite literally every meal. Breon Ramsey Brooks. All right. So I told you might have a new favorite player after the show today. It's either Brian Cobbs or it's Breon Ramsey Brooks.
What's his nickname? Big Boy, Big Chuck, Big what's his nickname? I forget what his nickname is.
Big Bubba. There it is.
Big Bubba.
Big Bubba. Oh man.
Yeah.
I would hate to line up across him. Could you?
And you know what? TCU is a pretty good team. They did pretty good
too.
They did pretty good last year, I think. Someone want to fact check. I think they did pretty good last year.
They did.
The Horned Dogs. So
Horned Frogs.
Yeah. What did I say? Oh, dogs? Horned Frogs.
You said Horned Dogs.
The Horned Dogs.
Jeff, on Tuesday, I took a trip to the University of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks, go Cox. To do a little college tour with the girl, and it was nice being an SEC country. TCU is not SEC country, but
they're not.
It's the only college I've been on in the last week, so I figured I'd throw that shout out right there.
Is he bigger? He's about the same size. I think Perry was.
I thought Perry was a little taller.
No, I
thought he was around 6'7".
I didn't think he was that tall. I thought he was 6'5", 450. I thought he was around the same size. I don't know, Jim. Your Google broken?
Oh, dang.
Oh, that's right. That's Anne. Hey. Anne is the Google queen, right? Jim just asked.
So here we go, Jeff. The fridge was 6'2", 335.
There you go.
6'2", 335. So this
we're not even close. Not even close.
Big Bubba is way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to call him the walk-in refrigerator.
Apparently, or he eats the refrigerator.
Oh man, refrigerator was a midnight snack for him. All right, enough. We're gonna murder this, and then it's not gonna be as fun. Breon Ramsey Brooks. There you go.
There you go.
Jeff, you were just talking about ESPN. They're talking about doing the betting, ESPN Plus, ESPN, everything. It's all around. It's going to just be the E eventually. We're going to have the X, and then we're just going to have the E.
Probably.
The NFL is no stranger to doing their own thing with their network, right? You've got the NFL Network. You've got Red Zone, right? You've got an international program for the NFL viewership. So they're not shy for doing their own thing. One of the reasons why they're becoming one of the biggest sport markets on the planet, not just in the US, right? So they want to go direct to consumer now. NFL Plus is the name, right? You'll be able to watch all of your Dallas Cowboy content in one location.
Well, not me.
You won't have to go follow anybody else.
Well,
You'll
not
just
me.
Be able to go to NFL Plus.
Well, not me. You, not me.
Well, me. You can VPN. You can VPN.
I could, but I don't. Well, I do, but I don't. I would actually. You would have to. I would have to. You need a U.S. address. I don't have a U.S. address, so I couldn't
give you my address
if I wanted to. So
you buy it, I'll use it.
There you go. This is because before NFL Network was tied to the cable companies, and of course that model is going away. They all want it to be streaming. They want it all online. They got the NFL Plus, so now they're going to factor this in. So, the NFL Network. That if you turn on any television in our house. That is the default channel it goes to. Is the NFL Network. We watch the Good Morning Football in the morning. They're doing all the training camp stuff right now. They do hours and hours and hours of draft coverage, as you know. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff all year long, right? I struggle with this topic. Because from a business side of things, I understand why this is the smart move. You own your content. You own your delivery. From the consumer side of things, I hate it because it's another subscription.
Correct.
And there's only so many subscriptions that one person can take on. Correct. When you talk about Netflix, in my case, I have YouTube TV, right? Not only your internet on top of that, you've got Hulu, you've got Disney Plus, you've got HBO, Max, whatever that is now. There's just so many options out there that can really drive some of those entertainment hungry individuals to go and sign up for all of these things. Man, that's a hefty bill though. I mean, the cable bill used to be, less than $100, depending on what era that still holds value, right?
Yep.
And you can sign up for all of these things. Next thing you know, you're paying, $200 to $300 a month.
Yep.
You only got the same amount of time to watch stuff.
It is going to be interesting
it's going to
be interesting in the fall because of the writers and actor strikes. There's no new content coming out. So what is cable going to do? So people are going to maybe get a 30-day trial to the Disney Plus or whatnot to kind of fill that. They got to do something. There's going to be no new content, right? And I think the cable model, I think that's old school. Obviously, line in everybody's house. Everybody's on the move. Everybody's doing things. Everybody wants to, watch it on their tablets, and they want to watch it at, their bed and this, that, and the other.
Why I went to YouTube TV, because we were wanting to watch hockey on the go because we were always on the go, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so we did that. And then come to find out, all the TV deals and everything, we can't even watch the Hurricanes in the area because it's blacked out. So what did I have to do? I had to go and get a subscription to Bally in order to be able to watch the Hurricane. I mean, it's just silly,
Yep.
It's just silly
from a consumer
especially
side.
in your own market. The blackout rules in the market drive me insane.
Mm-hmm.
You're punishing me from watching the team that you want me to support.
Yep.
So, all right, another topics for another days. But new bits for NFL. NFL Plus, I believe, is going to be the name. So it's an add-on to the NFL Plus that came out last year, which of course doesn't apply to us in Canada. So there you go. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Speaking of Canada. Great segues today, Jeff. I had this one come by my desk about midweek. Your population in Canada grew by 1 million for the first time in its history, in the history of the country, Jeff.
We're not that old.
First time.
We're not that old. We're only
Jeff, are you at least 100 years old?
We are.
Okay, then you're old.
We're over 150 too.
Yeah, you're old. See?
Mm-hmm.
So great growth for your country, right? There's some concern that because of the immigration or the emigration, whichever side of the aisle you're on, into Canada, it's causing the rents to surge in the biggest cities. You recently moved, right? You moved north of a big city a ways.
West, but yeah, same thing.
Well, west, northwest, right?
No, west.
Seriously, when I looked at the map, I thought it was north. All right,
west is the crow flies.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, when you moved, you were a lot closer to the big city. You have a lot of friends. You have a lot of colleagues, family, whatever. Does that hold weight?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Ricky was here, he could back me up on that. Yes, the big cities are just, and even some of the smaller towns now.
What does that difference look like, Jeff? Like talk to me like a dummy. So let's say in like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, 2-bedroom apartment would be what, like 500, 800, 1,000?
No, not that much. Yeah, probably 500, 500 to 800.
500.
Yeah.
Okay. And in 2023, what do you think that same $500 apartment would be?
Over 2,000.
That's insane, Jeff.
Yep.
That is insane. I know when we went to England, we were having some conversations with, folks there, and that's a big concern in the UK right now. The housing costs, the rent costs.
Yep.
It's one of the things that I believe why I saw so many people on bikes and on electric scooters. Just because why even have to worry about buying a car if I have to pay the prices to live in the city, right? Not only that, the parking, having to get around. But interesting.
I've talked with friends and colleagues and randos who have kids my age or a little bit older. You're not there yet. Your kids are still in high school, but kids are living at home longer. I know. Riley may go to Duke, but eventually she'll be back. They just can't afford to. They can't afford to move out, right?
No, it's
this would be a good topic for you and Jim to talk about. As he says, the rental increases have been surging faster than immigration. So they could speak to this a lot better than I can. But
I was walking through the store last night, Jeff. I mean, everybody, I think around the world is feeling inflation in some sort of way right now.
Mm-hmm.
Prices of things are just getting higher and higher and higher, and we aren't making any more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand business. Jim understands business. So I want to ask you to explain something to me.
Oh dear.
I go into the store last night. I go into the local grocery store. My daughter wanted lemonade. She wanted very specific Minute Maid lemonade, 2-liter bottle. Okay. I go to the aisle. I find it. It's $3.98 for the 2-liter. However, if you buy one, you get one free. What's the difference in doing that deal to still get me 2 of them, but not just cut the price in half, so I'm buying 2 for the same amount? Is it so that that price is what shows up on the registry, so that that's what you're showing you're selling the product for? Is it all about the product sale price when it comes to numbers, not the units?
No, it's all about the sale price. And then what'll happen, because I worked at a grocery store and I used to have to help do this. They would do what's called the cost of goods sold, where they itemize, okay, that costs $4. We sold it for $2, or we gave an extra 1 away. And so then they get to credit that against, their revenue and stuff. And there's all this accounting that goes into that. If you study, business and accounting, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into that as well. So, yeah.
It just seems insane to me, because I'm essentially getting 2 of them for the price of 1. So, why isn't it still just $1, whatever, like it used to be 2 years ago? You're essentially giving me the same amount of product.
True.
You're charging me for 1 what you would have for 2. So I don't.
They're charging you for 2, and then they're discounting you down for 1.
There it is.
Right. So when I invoice somebody, if I said to you, I'm gonna charge you, I normally charge you $4 to do it, but I'm only gonna charge you 2. I send an invoice for 2. I send an invoice for 4, and then I put a discount in of 2. So it's all there. So that's why.
Interesting.
And somebody is then giving them that money, whether it's Coke or something. They're still gonna earn that $4. Somebody is giving it to them, whether it's Coca-Cola or in terms of either a tax break, some sort of other credit, or actual money. That's why it's done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like more people need to maybe want to understand kind of what we're seeing right now in these grocery stores, because it's everything you look at. It's buy 2 get 3 free, buy 1 get 2 free, but the price of the item that you're supposed to buy in order to get the freebie, $4 more than it used to be, $5 more than it used to be,
and the size of the package is less.
Yeah. On some of these, yes.
Right.
I've seen it especially in candy. Candy is skimping away right now and charging even more than they ever have.
Yep. A bag of whatever used to be 200 grams. Now it's 150 grams, but the price has gone up. Yep.
All right. Yep. All right. Well, beat that up. Congratulations to Canada on the surge in population, but not in the surge in rent.
Yep.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Put that on your list of things to talk with Ann and Jim about.
There you go. Okay. We've seen some outcry from people in the past over servers being closed on games, this and that. This announcement came across the desk, right? EA's closing 3 servers for the games Crysis 3, Dante's Inferno, and Dead Space 2. Dead Space 2 is a pretty big game, right? And when you go to the comments of it, most people are like, who cares? Like anybody play these games anymore, whatever. But I think it goes to speak volumes about the fact that a lot of these games are live service in the sense that they have to live on a server, right? It's not the physical copy anymore. Everything is out there digitally. And when the numbers do not prove to be worthy of the cost to keep that server running, you shut it down. So I think we'll see a lot more of this on games that will all be like, wow, really? But there's going to be an influx of games coming in the next year to 2 that's going to turn a lot of attention away from all of these backlogs that we've had forever, and then things are just going to get forgotten about. Did you play any of these games?
I did. Did I post? Maybe I didn't post. I thought I posted the picture in the Discord. Maybe I didn't. I had it was a meme, and it had it was I think it was like a dad holding a child, and it said player, video game player, new game. And then in the water was
I saw
old games, and it was all these other kids or cats or something drowning or whatever. And I said to Big O Mac, I said, "Is this you?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, 100%."
Yeah, it's me too.
What's the new
shiny
game?
I was playing Diablo with Crow, and then I got busy, and I turned away from it, and then I got Civilization 6 on that sale, and I was telling him yesterday, like, I keep it on the side of me sometimes, because with it being turn-based and so slow, I can do what I'm doing, and I can turn over and take a turn. I can do what I'm doing, and I can take a turn, right? But I haven't really put anything else on except for maybe the occasional Rocket League game, because I'm looking forward to Starfield.
Yeah.
And Starfield's going to come out. I'm going to get my fill of Starfield, and then the next thing's going to come out that's going to pull my attention.
So there was a lot of stuff going on the last week or so about Diablo on Twitch, and some people were saying, "Look at the numbers on Twitch." And then somebody figured out that one of the big streamers, Asmongold, was artificially propping up the game. Like, because if you look at when the game was at its peak of people watching it, is when he was playing it, because he'd have 20,000 people watching it, and then he did a reaction video going, "Is this true? Is this true? What?" And then he was deep diving on some of the numbers, and now the Diablo streams, now it's all BG3, and there's stuff about BG, and we're not even talking about the controversy about BG3.
No, definitely. Probably could have had a whole big half hour on that one.
Just on that one. But so now, like the first, they were expecting to sell 100,000 copies. They sold 800,000 that first day. Everybody's playing it. It's huge in our community. Everybody except me and you are playing it, and Crow. And there's a lot of people playing it. But again, they're all just waiting for Starfield. And then everyone says, well, then Starfield's going to... But Starfield's single player. Right? Like, at least with Diablo and BG3, you could play with your friends, right? Even if it's only 4 people. Starfield is single player. I don't know if they'll come out later with a co-op mode or multiplayer of some sort. So, sure, a lot of people did play Diablo by themselves too, sure, but and then I'm excited about City Skylines 2. Again, another single player. I love playing it on Stadia. It's on Game Pass. I keep meaning to fire it up. You
see Stray. Stray's come over to Xbox.
Stray's come out over to Xbox. And there's a bunch of other games that I want to play. The Sherlock Holmes game. And there's a bunch of other games I've got in the queue. And then there's all sorts of other stuff. So there's just not enough time in the day for me to play and make content for all these games. So
and there's a lot of like indie style games too. That look really good that I've seen pop up on Twitter, X, and I've been following along. One of them I actually I purchased, and it's been really fun to watch them build the game out over the past couple of months, but it's called Turbo Sliders. It's on Steam. It's a top-down racing game. Do you remember like the Ivan Iron Man store off-road? It's kind of like that, right? But it's all about drifting and sliding around the turns. It's a lot of fun. And they have a whole Discord community, they set up, multiplayer events and things. So cool to see some of those games, get love too, when they have to go up against all these juggernauts in the realm.
I get asked all the time to play these indie games. And I'm thinking of maybe in the fall, maybe doing like Indie Tuesday on my channel and just play some of these indie games, because there's just
there's
many
enough
of
it to do.
And I just don't get the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of little indie sports games that are going to be popping up here over the next year. Maxim Football, I think, kind of set off a little bit of a trend, and now there's a lot of groups that are trying to do their own take on these
Wildcat Football. Wildcat Football looks hilarious and fun. Axis is coming out. I've played Axis. People are going to like it when it hits the
Nice.
the Hopin thing. It's really good. So yeah,
Nice.
just not enough time in the day. Just not enough time in the day to make content.
Well, we couldn't go too long without talking about another sports topic, Jeff. Oh, nope, never mind. Sorry, we got this one here.
Nice.
For the business professionals out there in the world that have used Zoom, Zoom really came onto the scene there during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that where I was working, we used Zoom. I was on Zoom every day. I mean, it became a verb,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And now that we're kind of pushing out of the major concern areas of the pandemic, for a while there, it was we cannot go anywhere near each other. Now we're starting to see more and more companies saying, yes, we need you to come back and be around us. And even Zoom, the company about working remote, the company about integrating through the computer screen, is telling their employees, we need you to come back to work.
Yep. In the office. They've not stopped working. I mean, in the office. Yeah.
Right. We want you physically here.
This made me laugh so hard. Yeah, exactly. Because they're the company that not pioneered meetings, because we've been doing these meetings for years, but yeah, they were the de facto stat. And even now I was like, got a Zoom meeting. It might be Teams, it might be Google Meet, it might be something, but I still call it a Zoom meeting, so everybody knows what it is. Nothing. I'm going to do a Teams meeting, but everybody knows.
And I tell you that you get familiarity with each one of these systems, because where I used to use nothing but Zoom, now I use nothing but Teams. Okay. And so whenever I get a Zoom link from somebody, I'm like, oh God, this is so frustrating, because I use Teams every day.
Who is the idiot that put the share button next to the leave button? Do you know how many times I hit the leave button instead of the share button? Yeah, because my mouse shakes. Dude, I'm just sliding and it doesn't quite slide, and I click. I'm like, oh crap! And I've left. Or someone else will go, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, bye.
I actually did that this week in a meeting with my boss, and so when I finally got back in, he was like, "You okay there?" And it was like, "Yeah, just don't ever hit the red leave button when you're trying to unshare."
I know who's the idiot that thought that was a good idea. But anyways, we digress.
Well, hopefully it works out for them, and their employees are happy working physically on their remote platform.
Yep.
Oh, that was a good one. Jeff. This is what I was talking about. Getting back to a sports story real quick. A little old, happened earlier in the week here, but a little context. Colin Cowherd is an established, somewhat respected sports journalist. Used to have a radio show that I used to listen to when I was working. I actually thought he was a ridiculous, you know what? And then I found myself continually going back to his show to see what his take is. And the more I kind of got familiar with his style and learned about him, it was like, okay, like, I get it. And some of the stuff he says is factual. He's big into the betting. He'll tell you a lot of lines, college football, etc. Right?
Everyone's doing that now. Everyone is doing that now.
Yep. But he's not one to always be perfect. And this is kind of a really big flub up here, not only on him, because you got to stop and remember, although he has input in content and they rehearse this stuff and whatever, there's a lot of these things graphic wise and stuff that's put up in front of him with a teleprompter that he's just got to go through. I mean, I think that's just show business, right? So shame on whoever put this story together and actually made this graphic.
Yeah. And it's not, like you said, it's not just him. There's a whole team of people, right? We even our goofy little thing here. We meet for 2 hours on Friday nights and we go over all of this and we chat during the week and we do stuff, right? But it's not just him. It's not like you're just typing the graphic up like we do. He's got people.
Playing it right here in the middle of the left column, there's the name Dwayne Haskins. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, Dwayne Haskins was drafted by the Washington Redskins. He's went to Ohio State, had a really nice season at Ohio State, his last season there. He's originally from Maryland, and so he grew up as a Redskins fan. So it was kind of a dream come true for him. He was Daniel Snyder's handpicked selection. because he knew him when he was a kid and, whatever, yada, 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 on and on. Didn't work out in Washington, got picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, seemed to be getting a rapport with the team, seemed to be making a turnaround of the career for him as a backup there. And tragically had his life ended when he was on the side of a highway at a broken down vehicle and somebody slammed into him. That was
a year ago,
almost 2 years ago. Okay.
Wow.
And his name is put up in this graphic alongside a list of people who cannot win a Super Bowl. Well, yeah, jackasses, he's deceased.
But he's not wrong.
Not wrong, but kind of not classy,
Yeah.
And even more so to maybe have missed that air and not have picked up on it. Look, I've made plenty of errors. I have slides I present during work every week. I'll have the wrong quarter number on there, the wrong date, year number, because I didn't switch it on the slide or something. I've made mistakes. I get it. Just kind of figured that this would have been something that would have stood out, but I guess not.
Well, there are a lot of names on there, so I guess somebody double checking it, and it might have been an intern typing it. I'm not making excuses for somebody who was doing it, but somebody had to type it up, and
somebody had to type it up. So
someone had to.
How do you think that conversation went, Jeff?
Yeah, after the show, especially with all the hate that was flying around.
Maybe not even after the show, but after the controversy started bubbling, right? So maybe it was right after the show because
people started during the show
on the X. Yeah,
it is. It had happened, and a few minutes later, I was in talking to Ray. I'm like, "Did you hear what Coward said?" He goes, "No, what do you say now?" And I told him, and Ray's like, "Oh my God, that's so bad." So, yeah.
Well, rest in peace, Dwayne. Hopefully his family doesn't have to feel that one too long. That's rough. But Jeff, I'm throwing you a little curveball here for those that maybe were not here at the beginning of the show, maybe weren't here for the second big story of the show. One more time for the people in the back. We got to see it. Lionel Messi.
I sent this to you last night.
Lionel Messi. He's taking over the MLS. He's taken over the MLS, Jeff. He has scored in 5 straight games. He's well on his way to getting the record, right? Little mix up here in the back. Look at Messi in the middle. Pop, pop. It's just like that. Nice and easy. Done. This was in Charlotte last night. I should have gone to the game, Jeff. Nosebleed tickets in the very top of the stadium were going for $1,000.
Saw something else about the owner said or something this week, but I forget what it was now. I forgot to send it to you. But
he's definitely having fun. He's all smiles. I'm watching this and I'm watching. What's that?
I just remembered. So apparently the Apple TV numbers that plays their games have skyrocketed since he showed up, since his plane landed, and of course he gets a cut of he gets a cut of all that. So the owner of Miami was saying it's gotten crazy.
As I watch him score, I'm thinking about just, you look around at the defenders, they're all bigger than him. They're all younger than him, right? Yet he still is savvy enough to find like a little space to do what he does. That's where his veteranship, that's where his mental, fortitude over the rest of those players comes in, because he knows where to be. Nice pass, good recognition, great play, right? But when I watch him celebrate with this player here, and I see the other players come over and kind of pat him, right? He's all smiles, right? He seems to be enjoying himself. I think about, what are these other players learning from him right now, right? What is he giving to them to make them even better? Will that lead to other superstars now coming over to the MLS? I've talked with you about Kylian Mbappe before, the 24-year-old super stud for France. He played with Messi at PSG, which is Paris Saint-Germain. There's talks about after this next year, he could come to the MLS. Remember, he turned down a $1 billion 1-year offer to play in Saudi Arabia after next year. And there's talk out there right now that they're trying to work on a creative deal for him to come to the MLS, just like Messi's deal, with the Apple TV numbers that you just spoke of. And then there's also Neymar, who played at PSG for them. He's something of a Brazilian legend, or becoming something of a Brazilian legend, right? He's a very skilled soccer player.
Nomar Garcia Parra that played baseball?
No, not Nomar Garcia Parra. Although he married Mia Hamm, right? You see the connection to soccer, Jeff. So
I don't know who that is.
The more I see him having fun, the more I see him, thriving. I just I wonder if more players will come. Yeah, I know.
If you watch the first episode of Hard Knocks, it was 80% Aaron Rodgers, and that's exactly what he was doing, just teaching the young kids. And even on the broadcast, it said that he was, he's coaching up other players, other positions. Yeah. He's helping.
Well, you think about it. What can he offer? Who can he offer help to on the defense?
All of them.
All of them. This is what I am thinking when this is happening. So if I'm thinking this, they're thinking that, right?
Yeah. I mentioned, I think last week or one time, that Micah Parsons had Andrew Whitworth come in, who is, Super Bowl winner now. He's played in the league forever. He goes, I just want to pick your brain on what I'm seeing offensive linemen doing.
Yep. Not because he plays the same position of me, because he plays the position I go up against.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
I was thinking about Brian last night. They during the telecast, because I know you watched it too, they kept talking about Larry Fitzgerald, and just what a legend he is, what a consummate professional he is. During these training camps and the lead up to the season, you see a lot of those veterans come into the building. A lot of those legendary franchise players. Larry Fitzgerald is that player for the Cardinals, right? And I can't wait until the day that I get to talk to Brian. I have so many questions that I want to ask him about this experience, but one of the ones that I want to ask him is, has he gotten a chance to pick Larry Fitzgerald's brain? Because you remember, Larry Fitzgerald wasn't the fastest. Larry Fitzgerald wasn't the biggest, but Larry Fitzgerald had a hell of a set of hands, and he was a fantastic route runner. So you got to be able to pick something up from those people in the room. But I messed up my segue before the messy one, and I'm going to do it again now. But if you missed it at the beginning of the show, and you missed it in the second big story of the show, and even if you just missed it just then when I was just talking about it, Jeff, Brian Cobb's first professional touchdown. Look at the rollout. He was wide open coming across the goal line.
Yeah, it was a blown coverage. He lucked out. It was not taking nothing away from him, just a blown coverage, and he ended up being open, because I saw the guy and I'm like, oh, he's going to be wide open, because I saw him run the route, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be wide open because it's a blown coverage, and I'm like, now the quarterback had the scramble, will he see him? There was a few plays before when he threw it to the tight end when Cobbs was more open. The tight end got it, and got the 2 feet in, went out of bounds, stopped the clock, but if he had gone up past him to Cobbs, they might have actually been able to advance down the field further. But again, it moves pretty quick. You have no idea how fast the NFL moves. So,
touchdown, Jeff. And on his very first snap, he ran a nice underneath crossing route, brought the safety down on him, other receiver over the top, touchdown. Brian Cobbs, baby. All right, we're done. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm getting pushed along here.
I have an event to go to. So,
well, let's do this, Jeff. We got to do some guesses.
We are doing some guesses. I'm going to hide this because we don't need this anymore.
Not at all.
So we're mixing it up. We both get 5 guesses this week, but it's not really a guess. We are doing, since it's NFL preseason, basketball is going to be starting soon. College football is going to be starting soon. We are going to do a draft, a la an NFL draft, baseball draft. Baseball just had theirs last month. So we're going to do a draft. So we each get to pick 5. We're going to do a draft on a particular topic, and we each get to pick, our top 5 picks of this particular topic. Okay? In honor of you get to go first. In honor of you, we are going to do a game show draft.
I like it.
So we are going to draft our first 5 picks of game shows of all time. So if your top game show was some obscure thing from the 20s, go for it.
Yeah, I wasn't alive then.
Okay. So with your first overall pick, Ryzak selects
Family Feud.
Family Feud. Excellent.
Yep. I'm gonna take Family Feud because that was the inspiration for Game Over, and it's one that I've been watching since I was a child. So Family Feud, that's my number 1.
There you go. I'm just thinking of how I'm going to edit this together. Anyways, my first overall pick will be the show that we all watched when we were home, sick from school in the 80s. My first overall pick is The Price is Right.
Fantastic pick. As soon as you said staying home from school, I was like, damn, it was Sports Center and then Price is Right.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Price is Right. Okay. I see you're playing dirty.
With the second overall pick in the game show draft, Ryzak selects.
I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, Jeff. One that not a lot of people think about when it comes to game shows, but it very much was a game show. The Love Connection.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I have the answers right here. Just so you know, I have the answers right here.
Okay. All right.
With my second overall pick, I am selecting Jeopardy.
That would have been my next one for sure. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I will see your Jeopardy. Go ahead.
Hold on. With the third overall pick in the game show draft, Ryzak selects
Wheel of Fortune.
Nice. Again, I'm just speaking, so it's going to make it easier for me to edit.
I totally get what you're doing, so I'm trying to help. Because what I was going to say is I was going to see your Jeopardy and match you with Wheel of Fortune, which was also the other dinner time, show, right? So, okay. Mm-hmm. I hope you don't get one of my last 2. I've already got them.
All right, cool. I got a whole bunch I can pick from, so if I do, I can go off the board. What are we at? Number 3. With my third overall pick in the game show draft, I am picking Press Your Luck. Big bucks. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammies. Was that one of your 2?
It was. Yep, for sure.
I didn't know. I went with that one. So I thought, there's no way Ryzak's gonna pick
Chuck
that.
Woolery, man. Chuck Woolery was on every freaking game show in the 80s, man.
He was.
So insane. All right, go ahead. Set it up.
With the 4th overall pick in the game show draft, Ryzak selects
the $100,000 Pyramid.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, that was there were those moments in television history where you just knew which shows you got one right after the other, right? And it was like Press Your Luck, $100,000 Pyramid. Those were like the 2 that I remember always back to back. All right, so you get 4 now.
With the 4th overall pick in the game show draft, I am selecting whichever case Meghan Markle is holding in Deal or No Deal. I said it like that. So I said it like that part for here, and then I can cut that crap out and put it into the
Hey, Deal or No Deal is a good one. That's a good one. But it wasn't in my mind. So I like the pick. It probably should have been.
You ready?
I think so.
What are we at? With the 5th overall pick in the game show draft, Ryzak selects.
Jeff, this one might be controversial. Because some may not consider it a game show. More of a competition. But I'm going to stretch the limits.
This might have been one of mine.
I'm going to stretch the limits, and I'm going to go with American Gladiators.
Oh.
I don't know if that really classifies, but I'm going to go with it because there was a prize to be won, and it was a competition of people against the same set of rules.
That is not where I thought you were going. Because I have my number 5. Actually, I'm torn between these last two, but one is too new. One of them is too new for me to select.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
So, I'm not going to select American Ninja Warrior. That was going to be a pick.
As soon as you said newer, I was like, yeah, because I had said competition. So yeah, and look, I don't know if they're game shows more than competitions, but they're the same set of rules apply, right? There is a prize. There is a competition against other people, even though it's physical instead of like knowledge based. All right, sorry, I know you got to set yours up.
With the 5th overall pick in the game show draft, I am selecting Joe Rogan's Fear Factor.
Awesome. Joe Rogan's shot to fame on the backs of MTV.
Yep. There you go. If Jeff doesn't pick a party game, he has to move back to. I'm heading out there in 20 minutes. Heading back out to the International Center, Jimmy. If you want to come to Game X, let me know. Sierra Rose, good morning.
That was good. So let me see if I can reel off my 5, Jeff. So my number 1 was Family Feud. My number 2 was The Love Connection, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I think so.
My number 3 was Wheel of Fortune. My number 4 was $1,000 Pyramid. My number 5 was American Gladiators.
Yep.
I hope I said that right.
I think so.
And then you had
it won't make the edit, so it makes no difference. It will not make the highlight reel. Not gonna make the blooper reel.
Your 5 were what was your number 1?
Was it Family? No,
no.
Price is Right.
Your number 1 was Price is Right. Your number 2 was Jeopardy.
Yep.
Your number 3 was Press Your Luck.
Yep.
Your number 4 was Deal or No Deal.
Yep.
And your number 5 was Fear Factor.
Yep.
Those are 10 incredible, shows.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong there.
My list also had Wipeout. It had Ninja Warrior. It had, there was a few others. There were some other classics.
There was like a Japanese or some sort of Asian inspired game show that kind of set off Wipeout.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was hilarious because it was just like people just getting pummeled by the obstacles, right? And they would just talk trash about them.
I forgot to change the text.
There it is.
I forgot to change the text. Oh well.
Well, do you want to do another kind of segue into it while that's rolling?
Nah. I can fix it in post-production.
All right, whatever.
Post production, I can just cut that out. I can crop the screen, and there's all sorts of shit I can do with film. Our sponsor, Filmora.
I tell you, there's never enough time, Jeff. There's so many things that we even kind of like added in as we were talking that we could have talked about this week. Baldur's Gate 3 being one of those topics. So it's amazing how the show comes together throughout the week, and we talk about things, and then we're always still like, oh, but we could have, oh, but we didn't, and
I know.
We just miss out, but
anyway, I keep mixing up this end of segment. We may have to come up with a new name because it's no longer 5 guesses.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
It's no longer. You gave me Mad Libs last week, which was a biatch to edit. Let me just tell you, that was.
Wait till the spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put. I don't know if I'm fancy enough to put the actual graphics of the pics on the screen. It's gonna have to be text. I'm not sure I'm that fancy enough as an editor yet. To do that, but in the one where I did the Mad Lib, I was able to get both graphics to show up with the Brownsville station and the Motley Crue. So that took some finagling. So,
well, I appreciate you staying up late with me and helping me to enjoy Mr. Cobb's pro debut. I know that how excited I was because I talk about him quite a bit, but
yes, sir.
Couldn't be prouder of that kid. So good luck the rest of the way there, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what do you have going on? You said Monday night you're doing what?
I don't know what I'm doing Monday night yet.
Oh, I thought you were doing Red Dead.
Maybe. The following Monday, though, I think I'm doing Chivalry 2 with Paul Bayram and Crow. Because Paul Bayram might actually be able to play with us.
Is Crow coming out of Chivalry 2 retirement?
So he's not here, so I can say anything I want because he is not here.
Exactly.
But when he rewatches the show, he will be leaving. He will be clicking the thumbs down.
Yep, it's gonna be fantastic.
He will be clicking.
Your suit of armor, sire.
He will be getting the thumbs down. This video will be getting a thumbs down from Crow Resin shortly.
As long as he doesn't report us like Jim's family, we'll be okay.
Yes, Jim, I did mention that the complaint that was filed from Ace about the noun versus proper nouns.
Completely acceptable complaint, by the way. Totally understand. I'm just an idiot.
Sierra says Sierra. So Sierra says Whitefoot was hilarious. Jim's picked Tashishi's Castle. What about a new business section on the agenda? Maybe
talk about just the new ventures.
Yeah, maybe that's a different show. That might be a different show. All right, I am heading out to Game X Toronto. I may actually even do a live video. Maybe if I'm playing a PlayStation 1 game in a Tesla, I'll talk to the Tesla people. If not, maybe I'll do a special segment later on that. But I might do that. Let's just see how busy the lineup is and.
Have a great time. If you see any cool little sports games or anything that says it's from North Carolina, let me know.
Okay.
I'm all about the North Carolina indie scene. We've got some game developers around the area because of Epic Games being here, right? That are pushing some stuff. So always like to support the locals.
Jim was surprised on how vocal Ace was about the proper. They were very vocal about the. I'm like he didn't say I couldn't.
They're right, and they're like, not wrong.
And they were like, but you didn't say you could. I'm like, but So yeah.
Yeah, I just Jeff, to be very honest with you, I'm just too stupid to have picked up on it. So you got one on me, and they caught it, and I'm never going to let it happen again.
I didn't even think about it, and they brought it up. I'm like, what?
Yes, it's my first language, and I still don't understand it.
Well, I know what a proper noun is, but I was just like, what? Yeah, but. Okay. And then I was like, eating my waffle, backtracking, trying to defend.
Yeah.
So Jim was just sitting back laughing.
Saved me a waffle.
I did not. It was nice sitting outside. Had a nice table. I sat outside eating my waffle in my bare feet at Jim's house, at some random dude's house, and there was
no shoes, no service.
There was no sign. So, there was some chatter in a couple of the group chats about what was going to happen first, me showing up at 11 or his kid waking up by 11.
Nice.
And I think it was about a tie. Although they claimed they were awake since 9:30, just didn't drag their asses out of bed until I showed up. So, yes. Oh yeah, Jim made the case that proper nouns were not,
that's what you said.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
But we're not going to win that battle. When somebody points out something that they have good evidence for, it's all downhill from there. I mean, we're going to try to plead our case and defend ourselves, but at the end of the day, the rule of law.
And I believe Jim showed them the final one with that song that I'd never heard of. So I believe there was some ridiculage of me at the table over waffles.
Oh, that's the best. I hope that one day you'll put that video together. That would be a good drop at some point for you.
Oh,
especially on the TikTok. If you just hashtag that, I'm sure you'll get some views.
I will. Maybe I'll just put it on. Maybe I'll just edit it for the. Maybe I'll just edit it for the TikTok.
Just for the talk.
Maybe just for the talk. Yeah.
Just for the talk.
Yeah. I posted the ones last night. Except I made a small mistake and I picked the wrong. I had different versions and I picked the one without the text.
Mm-hmm.
When I uploaded, I hit the wrong button. And I uploaded a video a different way through the browser. And
that was the one you were telling me about.
And that was the one that got like 25 views. It got no views. The uploading from the phone, much better. So now I know. So I'll never make that mistake again.
Well, you got to live and learn.
I was at my computer. I was was like, oh, where's my phone? Oh, I'll just do it from here. Yeah,
trial and error.
That just sucked. So
trial and error.
Ridicule is such a polite word.
It is. So is quirky.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we have no ending death scene tonight, so that's good. That is
fortunately there's nothing to report.
Well, shout out to Robbie Robertson, a Canadian musical icon who did pass away this week, but to most of you, you'd be like, who?
Should have made a slide.
But Jim would know Robbie Robertson. So Jim would know. But anyways, I am off to Game X Toronto. Got my media pass. They invited me. They emailed me and called me and said, hey, we'd like you to come out. So I'm coming out to Game X Toronto. So
I like it.
My pass is waiting for me. So I'll be there. So
enjoy
look
yourself.
Keep an eye. I'll let you know if I'm able to do some video. I'll be doing videos for sure. I'll let you know if I can do a live stream of me playing in a Tesla.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
Have a good rest of your day.
Safe travels.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, it's about an hour and a bit drive.
Go Bron Cubs!
So there you go. See ya.